Hi there, this is Psychic Angel One. Today's topic is about emotional blackmail. I'm going to get the show started with a quick little introduction to the meditation, and thanks for being here. Chance for everybody to get in the show. Thanks for being here again. If you just joined me today, the Psychic Angel One, the live show, March 6th, just before we turn back to daylight savings time. So today's show is about emotional blackmail and how that affects your chakra system, how that affects you in terms of your well-being, your health, and your soul energy. It has a huge impact, especially if you're an empathic person who are not necessarily have to be an emotional person or a really highly strung person, but if you have a very empathic, compassionate kind of energy, and then you get into receiving some negative, whatever that negative emotion is, whether it's a conflict or whether it's somebody who's blackmailing you emotionally. And I'll explain a little bit about that. Looking at it like somebody's conditions and what they expect and how they trick you into getting what they want and need emotionally by blackmailing you and conjuring up your need to replace their missing soul energy, their love missing, their healing missing. So emotional blackmail comes in many forms, usually through close relatives, close family, friends, co-workers. Sometimes it does show up in projects, a little bit more likely to show up with people who are entwined in very long projects. So if you're working with a team, a lot of times I'll see that same sort of familiar emotional stuff coming up around the workplace, but usually it's around a team. For months they're working on a project together, especially creative projects where that does require a lot of your energy, soul energy, your creative energy. Let me give you kind of an example of what it would look like. Generally, it falls into, this is just in my practice as a psychic, it seems to fall into, the main one is pushing your guilt button. So when somebody's looking for to condition you to get what they want out of you, to manipulate you emotionally, it usually 99% of the time they work on your guilt. They have a good idea of what your weakness is, And because you're an empathic or sensitive person or just a nice person, and you may be the person that's the most even keeled, balanced person in the crew, in your group, they will definitely go after you and find your weakness in terms of what makes you tick, what will make you jump, what will get you exasperated, and get them the quickest return on their emotional investment. It may be coming in the form of things like passive aggressive, oh, I thought I'd hear from you by now, or, well, I thought you had my back on that thing, that project. Or it may come in the way of a backhanded compliment. Well, it's a good thing I was here, so I saved the project, and just kind of pushing all those emotional buttons. Where's my mind at? Buttons. Emotional blackmail also comes in family circles where one sibling will go against another sibling. Behind their back, there's a lot of backstabbing that goes into emotional blackmail. But again, the end of the day, I want to talk about on a spiritual tip how this shows up and how to heal it, because no matter who aims it at you, everybody has a different reaction, and it also plays into codependency. We're pretty familiar now with the term codependency. So if you're just joining me, this is Psychic Angel One. Welcome to the show. Today we're doing an impromptu show coming at you on the weekend around 10 in the morning. Decided to do a show on some topics that are showing up. Getting back to the topic at hand, emotional blackmail and how to handle it or how to recognize it. Usually 99% again of the time when you feel that you have taken on the negative emotion, usually your solar plexus, which should be around the midsection of your upper stomach, lower stomach to the bowel area. It will be the yellow chakra into the orange chakra, okay? So it's the yellow chakra and the orange chakra, those two. Generally, it hits the yellow one first. It's just kind of where everybody seems to get it, the solar plexus. That will be hit first. So you need to replenish that source, and it's not really that hard to do. It's not like you need to do anything major, but you just need to go, and sort of the quickest way I've found to do it is generally finding the color yellow, whether it's the sun, whether it's something on your computer, whether it's something in your room where you can focus on yellow, and you want to start to make a counterclockwise circle around that area and to draw out everything that is dark and negative and basically purge it. And you can send it into the earth, or you can send it into the heavens to be cleansed. So if you're really, really tuned into yourself, you'll actually feel that how big the circle is. It's usually the size of just your body or around your body. Or even if it's smaller, if the solar plexus yellow energy is like smaller than a grapefruit, you want to expand that. So the whole idea is you want to fill up the solar plexus back to its normal high-functioning yellow tone. And even better is to use, there's so many tools for free you can use on the internet. Go to YouTube. They have chakra cleanses. These things are not a joke, and these things are very, very scientifically proven that we actually do have these colors and tones associated with our astral body, and they do affect us so deeply into our cellular body as well, and mental health, okay? So that's the way that you get into that solar plexus and start to work it with the toning and the yellow and replacing that energy. Also, a lot of people will comment on how they feel like, I call it the fist in stomach, which it feels like they're sick. They literally will throw up sometimes. They will go to the restroom, have the runs, So a lot of people really have a very physical reaction to the emotional blackmail. Some people get physically sick, actually get exhausted, drained. They'll just have headaches, or arthritic pain. Any kind of inflammation also will show up. So there's a lot of physical pain to the truth of it. So it's really important to take good care of yourself. And there's not always somebody around to sort of hug you and make you feel better. So you really need to take a proactive approach. That's the yellow one. The orange one, which is just below the yellow solar plexus. Sometimes that can be affected. That tends to be the area that you will keep in all the negativity. So it's almost like the yellow receives it, because the yellow is like the psychic receiver, okay, for those kinds of energies, emotional energies that are coming your way. And then so it seems like the orange chakra is the one, this is just my experience, but the orange chakra seems to be the one that sort of hangs on to it, and that is the area also of the bowels, okay, the hips, the bowels, and kidneys, back, things like that. So that's why a lot of people have issues when they get into emotional blackmail and pain, that they will actually receive it and it'll move into those areas around the orange chakra. All this information is readily available for free on YouTube, and you can research it yourself. But basically what I'm trying to do is say clean up as you go, clean up some of this debris. I'm going to talk a little more about what emotional blackmail feels like, and I'm going to give you a little meditation. Take a break from my voice for a minute and breathe. And welcome back. Just took a few seconds here to restore myself, have a glass of water. So let's talk a little bit about what is this emotional blackmail, what in terms of what it feels like when you're on the receiving end of it. First and foremost, it's a manipulation to get where the other person or persons want and are demanding and are manipulating emotions that they need to feed on. It can come in the form of emotional vampirism when you really get on the negative side of it. So it's really important you be able to recognize what this looks like and feels like. Normally, what is reported to me is that when people go into a childlike state of fear and panic attacks, or a fearful state, out of control, this is a big one, is when you feel out of control of your own emotions, when you feel off-centered. You can't collect yourself, you can't think, you can't focus on what you're doing, and you feel sort of scrambled. This is a really good indication that you're being thrown off your center. The most important thing is to keep yourself grounded in source energy, God energy, okay? The God energy is the thing that continually will feed you. And as you receive some of these emotional drains, blackmail and draining and the vampirism that people pull at you, you'll actually feel sometimes also pulling. The pulling feels, sometimes it's from different parts of your body. A lot of people feel like it's gravity, like a heavy gravity on them. So they'll feel it like all the way down their legs. It's very common. That's really, a lot of people feel that more than anything. Some people that are more tuned in will actually feel either in the temples area, around the eyes and the temple area, or even the front where the third eye is, in the top of the head, or they will feel literally pulling at their stomach. But people talk about this. It's pretty common that people will tell you, oh, I feel like someone's thinking about me and they're pulling at me. This also needs to be addressed with regards to lovers. I didn't speak too much on the lover part of it. But romantic lovers, or even partners that you just started to date from a distance, they can hook into you like a hook, and they can pull also. Same principle applies, that people are coming into your personal chakra space, your astral body, and they're able to get access to you. Because people need to stop being in denial. We're all psychic beings. That's what we were born as. We just are all intuitive beings. No matter There's no way you can deny that fact. That little voice inside you. Most important thing is to protect yourself at all costs, because nobody's going to protect you while they're attacking you, and their best interests are not your interests. So this is pretty common in family circles as well, like I mentioned. Sometimes you'll find the roles reversed, where the caretaker and the person that is the one that's not well, the patient, so to speak, they'll reverse roles. Pretty common. Also, I hear about a lot of people taking care of their parents now that they're that generation. The baby boomers are aging out. So you got people taking care of their elderly parents or step parents, and they're having to somehow wrestle the fact that they're trying to take care of people who are vampiring their energy. I don't mean just taking care of their physical needs. I'm talking about they're fighting and throwing conflict and throwing emotional debris at the caretaker. So this is also a huge impact on the kids that are born in the 60s and early 70s. There's a huge amount of people who are taking care of their elders. And again, you've got to protect yourself and realize that anytime you walk with guilt in your life and you have that on your shoulder, that is an easy button for anybody to hit. I want to discuss a little bit about guilt, because I think we all wrestle very deeply with it. The more religiously programmed you are, the worse it is. Guilt is a great weapon, and its cousin is, jealousy and envy and all those so-called sins in the Bible. It's wonderful information to really think about. Really, guilt, this is just my belief from working with people for 16 years, okay? I've never seen guilt do anything great. I've never seen guilt make anybody feel innocent. I've never seen guilt help somebody heal. I've never talked to somebody who's guilty and feels better. So I want to share with you, and we have a caller on there. Hi, how you doing? You just want to hold on for one moment. Thank you so much. I found that if you can actually remove guilt and replace it with compassion, you will have such a better time on this planet, because guilt is a negative. It is never a positive. There's nothing it does for you. People say, well, come on, Angel, it's part of your moral fiber. No, it is not part of your moral fiber. Serving people and unconditional love, and that is it. As far as guilt goes, to me, guilt and forgiveness, those two things are taught from religious points of view, and I find they hurt people. I just don't buy into it, because only reason I don't buy into it is because I've worked so much with people around the world, and it never seems to make them happier. They don't heal. They hang on to the so-called forgiveness like it's just a joke. It just drowns them. So the best thing you can do is practice the highest unconditional love, practice a higher form of vibration of your service to others. Throw it out the window. It is bad teaching. It is bad medicine. It doesn't work. It has nothing to do with your morals. Just serve the best you can. If you can't serve the person that's attacking you emotionally, you can serve somebody else. If that person's attacking you and it's been going on for a long time, you need to detox from that, take a break from that, and serve somebody else. This is the best way to get rid of your pain immediately, is to serve another person. So let's just give an example. Let's say your brother or sister calls, and then this is very common, and you are feeling very guilty, horrible, shameful, crying, upset, fearful, terrified, shaking even. The best thing you can do with that energy after you calm yourself down is to let that person just sit there with that big negative thing on them. Just don't call them back. Don't email them back. Just let them sit there. And meanwhile, you find somebody in the community to help. I don't care if it's a homeless guy. I don't care if it's donating to thrift store, if it's going to help somebody cut their grass. Is immediately as you turn the energy into serving another human being from compassion, a very interesting thing will happen. And I can only ask you to do this for your own experiment. But you will find what you're looking for. You will find that in that moment, a lot of things will be automatically taken off your back. It's just like having a huge bath of love. It's like having a big shower of love. It's just instant karma. Get it out of there and move on. And I don't want to get into the particulars of too much about that, because that's really more of a therapeutic area. But I'm just telling you from a psychic healing point of view, I've never seen guilt do anything but hurt people on both ends and all ends. So use the higher vibration, drop the guilt, drop all the shame, let it go. It's useless. It absolutely corrupts all humanity. It has no purpose. It is not your moral compass. That's my humble opinion, but you can carry it if you want. We have a caller on the line.